Is that some great air? Wow! Gunslinger with some sick air! I got my finger on the trigger. Wow! How you like me now? The gunslinger's gonna run you out of town, boy. Don't try to test him, he's the baddest on the block because he's hot. Cocked and he's ready to rock. Now here's the deal, we're full of steel, that's what he's bringing. Start it up, rev it up, he got your ears ringing, yeah. You wanted trouble, but you're getting something bigger. It's high noon, yeah. Here comes the gunslinger. Here comes the gunslinger.
Scott Hartsock has taken the checkered flag, significant of being the winner.
You can take my word to the bank, we're on a mission.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about it for Scotty Hartsock in the Gunslinger?
Here he comes. I tried to warn ya. Here he comes. I tried to warn ya. Here he comes. I tried to warn ya. Here he comes. I tried to warn ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Give it up for Scott Hartsock and the Gunslinger.
Good evening, everyone. This will be a special episode of the Throttle Out Show. My name is Austin Tweedy, joined by my lovely co-host, as always, Miss Harley Johnson, and our boy up there in Detroit, Rock City, Austin Spence. We would like to get our show started this evening because, first of all, we know of an event that's happened this past week in the monster truck world. And when one thing happens to someone in the monster truck world, it happens to all of us. That's probably the best quality about our communities, because when someone else is in the trenches, everybody else jumps in and we all pull each other out and we stick together. To the Hartsock family, we offer our condolences. We are praying. We are pulling for y'all. And honestly, I don't know if there's anybody out there who would ever have anything negative to say about Scott Hartsock, Austin Spence, because when I think of Scott Hartsock, first of all, one of the things that comes to mind is in the beginning of that awesome video put together by Monster Truckinator TV is that jump from Scott Hartsock at World Finals 3. That was some of the biggest air in all of monster trucks at that time, Austin.
Dude, I remember watching so many highlights of early Monster Jam, and this was back when it was on Motor Madness on TNT, and Scott Hartsock was always one of those competitors that you had to watch out for. Like, you always had the back and forth between Gravedigger, Goldberg, or T-Ments or whatever it was at the time. But Scott Hartsock was always right there behind them, either taking on the Black and Green Wrecking Machine or taking on, you know, Goldberg. And I remember watching the VHS cassette that my mom got me forever ago when I was little and seeing that jump and thinking that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. That I didn't think a monster truck could jump that high, at least at the time. Right. And the guy was fearless. I mean, every single one of us could say that, you know, Scott Hartsock, when it came to running his truck, he ran it hard, and, you know, he loved what he did every single weekend.
He did. He always put his truck on the line for a smile on a fan's face. And the first ever show that I was ever a part of, any show that where he was at anyways, it was a very small, all concrete floor arena show somewhere down in Georgia. I can't even remember exactly where. And I honestly, there's only two drivers I can tell you who were at that show. One being my dad, and the other one obviously being Scott and Gunslinger, because nobody else mattered in that show because he completely stole the show. He drove the wheels off of that truck. So instantly, you know, my first, well, as a kid anyways, you know, going alongside my dad and being at a show where he was at, you know, didn't matter who else was there because he was there. He kicked everybody's butt. But he was also a gentleman about it as well. Everybody loved the guy. And I think the second memory I have of him is when, Austin, we were working at the Feld Shop in Palmetto, Florida. Mm-hmm. And I was, for some reason, in charge of retrofitting these Monster Jam trailers to swap out these generators. We're going from gas generators to diesel generators. I knew nothing about fabricating. All I knew was the electric part on that job. And what do you know, on like the second day I was there, I'm starting to get the hang of it. Scott comes in with Gunslinger, and they were going to put in a Monster Jam Feld remote ignition interrupter RII radio in his truck. 4 Monster Jam shows, and he brings his truck and he gets it parked. And I'm just over there working by myself. I didn't have anybody helping me, nothing. And he walks over and he's just watching me work. Just watching. He's got a smile on his face. And he just walks up to me and he goes, you know what, you're doing a really good job over here. This looks really nice. And I could just turn to him and say thank you. And we just chit-chatted back and forth. But I think that's just about any memory anybody's gonna have of that guy. It's just him being down to earth. It's him being human. I know personally, or my brother personally, his last show with Scott a couple of years ago, they did the show. They were having some issues with Bigfoot, and Scott was doing whatever he could to help them. He went out of his way even to make sure that Bigfoot truck got back on the track. And at the end of the show, everybody, was cleaned up. Trucks were tired up. And I think my dad, my brother, getting ready to pull out of the shop. And this is on my brother, Logan Twitty's Facebook page. He was getting ready to pull out, and Scott stopped him and hopped up on the side of the rig and looked at my brother and said, by the way, happy birthday. And I hope one of these days we'll see you in a Bigfoot truck and real soon. So again, just another small example of how genuine this guy was. And my dad had gave me something he wanted me to read to y'all tonight as well. Just want to say that Scott was not just a competitor to me. He was a friend for the first time we raced against each other when I was in Boogie Van. Neither one of us liked to lose, but at the end of the night, whichever person won, one of us always went up to each other and congratulated the other one. He was a class act, very professional. He treated me like he was best friends every time that I had seen him. I know he's in a much better place. Fly high, my friend, until we meet again. So for anybody who has ever even competed against that guy, I would honestly say everybody has that exact same thing to say. And, when you wake up and you hear news like what we all heard Thursday morning or Friday morning, whatever it was, I'm sorry. The most uplifting part about all of that was that Facebook and all social media was flooded with memories, flooded with, we love Scott, we miss Scott. That shows you what kind of impact he had on our lives.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm getting a little choked up just thinking about it. There's one picture that hit me like a ton of bricks. Because growing up, I come from a Ford family, as you do. So do you, Tweety. And one of my idols growing up was Tony Farrell. And, when he was driving Blue Thunder, I knew he drove other trucks before, but my era where I was growing up, he was representing, in Monster Jam, the built Ford Tough Blue Thunder. And there's a picture that Cody Saucier posted of Scott and Tony Farrell having a moment together. And that was just, it hit me, because it's like, those are two, I would say, almost heroes to me growing up that I very much looked forward to. I will say 100%, I am very blessed knowing that I have a poster I made when I was like 10 years old. Is nothing to write home about. It looks terrible, but I have both their signatures sitting on this poster, knowing that I at least got a chance to meet both those gentlemen and at least tell them, even at a young age, like, you guys, you mean something. And part of me, I wish I got to meet and tour around with Scott a little bit more, because I think I only got to do one show when I was with the company where Scott Hartsock was there. And, being in the company, you're told to go point A, point B, and so on and so forth. And especially with Ride Truck, you don't get a chance to really do a whole heck of a lot as far as wrenching unless you're absolutely needed. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, that one show, I only got to like shake his hand and meet him, but that was unfortunately the extent of the bit. But I couldn't imagine how our good friend Jeffson is doing. Because Scott Hartsock kind of gave him his start, to my understanding, was one of those independents that gave him a start before he has become a very well-renowned crew chief in Monster Jam. And I hope, Scott or Jeff, I hope you had an amazing weekend out there in MetLife Stadium with Todd. I hope he didn't drive you too nuts. But I've been thinking about you all weekend, brother. I hope you're okay.
And Cody, and I saw Bari as well, and then Doug White, who's watching tonight with us. There's a lot of people that were closer to Scott than we had actually known. And for anybody who's watching, us three that are on the show tonight, we weren't close with Scott or his family, but I can tell you this, for Kathy, for Michael, and is it Caitlin? I believe, is that his daughter's name?
I believe it's Caitlin. Yeah.
Caitlin, y'all will have no shortage of help for people wanting to volunteer, and make sure y'all got the right tools, got the right people helping you. For anybody out there who goes to these shows, they will always be willing to lend a hand to Team Gunslinger. So, and as we saw in the intro video tonight, it was hard to not watch that and just not get pumped up. And so that's what we're going to try to do now, is we're just going to try to move forward with the show. We'll attempt to do that anyways. We have to. And we'll stay cocked, locked, and ready to rock. And let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and move forward with the show now. So we had a lot that happened this weekend. We had a big stadium show, Monster Jam Arena show, and a few, I mean, you can call them fair shows, but good night, y'all. They were just as big a show as the MetLife Stadium show. So where should we begin, Harley?
First of all, can we briefly talk about how much we love the rain?
Oh yeah, no joke. The rain was a nightmare for everywhere, all over America this weekend.
So I feel bad for my really good friend Mike Bev. He was actually at the MetLife show that was supposed to be going on Saturday, and they're sitting there in the stands just waiting and waiting and waiting. Pit party got canceled. They told everybody to go to their vehicles and wait because I guess inclement weather. I don't know if there was thunderstorms, but you look at pictures of the track on Saturday and it was a mess. It looked like a soup bowl. It was so bad. So I think it was a good call for Monster Jam, especially since it was a one show weekend, to extend it on to Sunday. But I really want to know a little bit more about the track conditions that was today, because nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, but when it comes to our picks, none of us chose today's racing winner, and that was Miss Kayla Blood in Soldier Fortune.
Just look at her getting after it right here, though, man. I mean, she took everybody by surprise. Nobody would have picked that. For anybody who...
Especially being her first show back in over a year and a half.
It doesn't even make logical sense to pick Kayla Blood coming in this race. And I do think it is very ironic, however, that the two people who finished in the final round today, Kayla Blood and
Buddy Tompkins.
You know, Buddy hasn't competed in a Monster Jam show since he got hurt in the very first Monster Jam show of 2020. And
I remember
makes it
that.
all the
That
way
was when you guys were with the Pags, right? That was that show
correct.
that they won the overall, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. Gosh, that long. That's incredible. Kudos to both drivers, honestly. Oh, buddy, hold on there, bud.
It was not a pretty finish to the race, but Austin, you and I were talking before the show. To win a race like that, okay, you have to be in it to win it. You know, you can say, okay, well, this driver just lucked out through the entire. What about the other driver? Okay, at some point, we got to admit, you got to be in that race to win it. And that's exactly what Kayla Blood did. She took all of us by surprise. You made us all look terrible at being monster truck analysts. So thank you for that, Kayla. We'll make sure we keep you in mind the next time we see you in a stadium race. But, you know, a lot of us last week, Austin, we were trying to figure out why was Kayla Blood even in a stadium race, and Brie Mahone was it? And look at what she did today.
And now she proved she can be there.
Yeah. I doubt Kayla watches the show, but she definitely gave us a big slap in the face. That's for sure. And not to mention these arena guys, they're hungry. They want to show that they belong on the big show, the big roster. And speaking about this show, Tristan England, once again, surprising everybody in the Shark. And I believe not only did he win freestyle, he won the overall.
Yep, he took both the freestyle and overall win today.
Yeah, that guy has been a good fit for Team Megalodon. It's weird seeing him, you know, and not yellow, you know, in a blue uniform, but nonetheless, he was hungry. All that time he'd been sitting, waiting on the sidelines. And obviously, Austin, Harley, he has proven that he belongs in stadiums.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm not sure if the footage on your guys' end is crystal clear, but it looks like it was filmed on a potato on my end, getting like 2 FPS. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on the screen. I'm assuming that's Ryan Anderson completely destroying yet another truck. So speaking of which, I kind of want to talk about this. I don't know if we shared it on our story or not, but some announcer at the Nashville show, I don't know who was announcing. Was it Scott Jordan or
It sounded like Scott Jordan.
was it?
Yeah, I think it was Scott Jordan.
So it was really funny because somebody recorded this and Scott Jordan was saying that Ryan Anderson was going to be driving tonight in Son of a Digger for the first time in however long. And it's like, well, clearly he's not. He'll drive him Bakugan Dragonoid.
I think Scott did that just to get us all worked up. Like, see,
Probably.
we were right.
Dang it, Scott. But no, I'm just glad that was this Bakugan's last show. Like, are we finally done seeing Ryan in this truck? I'm not saying we're not going to see Bakugan anymore because I'm sure Feld's got somebody in the back or some driver they're going to bring forward. Who knows? Maybe it might be Morgan Kane or one of those many other drivers we talked about last time that they're going to put back in a sponsored truck. But we need to see Ryan in Son of a Digger. Now, I still feel bad for the Staples Center show for all those rookies that are coming back into the seat and they have to face against Ryan Anderson. Do you guys think anybody on that roster has a slightest bit of chance, or is it just gonna be a Ryan Anderson weekend?
It's at least when it comes to skills and freestyle, nobody stands a chance against that. Now, racing can't do anything about it. It's fair and square. It's one person versus the other. But at least, you know, when you get to the what's it called, judges zone, the fan voting,
Fan judges.
it's going to be all Ryan Anderson all weekend.
Oh yeah.
And then for those of us who are watching tonight and wondering what's going on in the reflection in our glass cabinet back here, my daughter's with us tonight, so she's watching a Goofy movie. She's somewhere around here. Oh yeah, she's right here. Y'all can't see her, but she's right here hanging out with us watching a Goofy movie. So there you go. You can watch a movie for free tonight with us if you want, if you can pay attention.
So I guess everybody's saying that Camden Murphy is officially going to be coming back, according to the Gears and Nachos podcast thing that they do. So hey, that's awesome. Camden's a hell of a driver. I haven't really seen anything about him in social media. I don't know if he's just been quiet or what the deal is. I'd love to see him come back because Camden's one of those guys where he's not afraid to put it down. Now, I love that Ty is talking, man, dude. I pray. And I think I speak for all of us and everybody in the comments that's a huge fan of how far you've come this year alone. I hope you get to land solely in the stadiums next year when everything's somewhat back to normal and there's stadium tours and arena tours. Dude, you've deserved a spot 1,000%.
You know, but even before then, I could just tell in his frustration because the way his last few performances have gone at the World Finals and not getting the floor time that he went, rolling over earlier, breaking earlier, whatnot, how frustrated he was with that. I could tell then, like, hey, this guy belongs in stadiums. That's what he's winning. That's why he's kicking ass in the arenas. He belongs in stadiums, and then he's absolutely proved that. Now, I do like his comment, what he had to say about Son of a Digger here I guess it's next week or whatever, going to the Los Angeles show because that truck hasn't ran in over a year. So there's going to be potentially a lot of bugs to be worked out of that truck.
Oh, come on. It's an Anderson driving it. Any kind of bugs, they just put it to the floor. It's like, well, this will look cool.
Well, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But when it comes to racing, that could potentially be the monkey wrench thrown into the competition that weekend.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess I could see where you're coming from, but Ryan being Ryan, the guy, you give this guy a Toyota Camry and he'll do something crazy with it. I mean, he's a wheelman. You put him in anything and Ryan's willing to make something cool out of it. So even if there is bugs, even if the truck is extremely loose or whatever, I think Ryan's still going to have a badass weekend. Now, I believe his first stadium show is going to be in Wisconsin. Is it? Or is there something before that show?
That I don't know.
Sure. I have to figure that out. I'm sure somebody in the comments will let us know when Ryan's first Son of a Digger stadium show will be, because I don't know at the top of my head. I've been paying more attention to all the independent stuff going on this weekend.
So we kind of got MetLife covered. We talked about Kayla winning racing. Ryan,
it's New
Orleans. Okay.
Ryan,
I forgot about New Orleans.
Two wheel And who won freestyle in that life?
Tristan won both
Tristan, yeah.
freestyle.
Tristan. He's in the comments. How can you forget him?
I'm trying to
Good Lord,
transition
sweetie.
to the next event that happened this weekend. I just
Nashville.
want to make sure we covered that. Okay. So Nashville this weekend. I like how they started out the weekend. Moment of silence, of course, for Scott Hartsock. And then Harley, you got the results for Nashville. If you want to break that down, some keynote or something to pay attention to is Whiplash finally made her return back to the circuit, which is great. We've all been wanting to see Whiplash back. So go ahead, Harley, hit us with it.
So for the first show for racing, we had Zombie Bari take the win in racing. Donuts, we had Kristen Anderson and Gravedigger take the Donuts win. We had Elvis and Mohawk Warrior take the skills win. And then freestyle was Kristen and overall was Elvis for show 1. And then show 2, it seems like Bari took most of the wins that night. He won racing, donuts, and the overall win. And Kristen Anderson won skills, and Whiplash won freestyle that night. And then today they had show 3, I believe, and they won, let's see, racing. Bari won racing. Elvis won skills, and Travis Mowry won donuts today.
Hey, okay.
And Paul Jensen and Jurassic Attack won freestyle.
Oh, boy, Paul.
And Elvis took the overall win today.
Elvis had a new crew chief in Carlos Emmanuel de la Cruz, who has like 5 different names, but he knows I love him. So I was excited to see Carlos getting the call to be a crew chief once again and already having some success out there. So good job, team. Great clips. And also, kind of speaking of great clips and the Mohawk and all that, but this is more related to Bryce Kenny, is somebody in the show is going to be having a purple Mohawk here pretty soon. That somebody is the guy who is speaking right now. I'm not really looking forward to it, but that will be happening this week, Austin.
Oh, this week? We're officially getting it this week?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's time. It's just at least the length that needs to be, and I'm ready to just get this thing over with and get the purple Mohawk out of the way.
You're literally you're almost 100 followers short. We are 4 followers on Instagram away from 800, and we agreed that, at 700 followers, we were going to do this. Well, we're almost got 100 more now.
I don't think we timed it right with letting your hair grow back after you shaved it all off.
I wasn't prepared for the following to jump from
Yeah.
whatever it was, 450 to 700 in the amount of time that it did, because at that time we made that bet, I was bald.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Bryce. Appreciate it.
appreciate you, Warrior Bryce.
Oh, I like this guy commented. I did talk to Bryce about Austin.
Oh, man.
So I think Bryce might be looking out for that purple mohawk Wednesday.
Hey, when are we going to be on Gears and Nachos? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Do a collaboration, Throttle Out and Gears and Nachos. Do
I
episode
highly,
together.
Throttle
highly,
Nachos. Let's do it.
highly doubt that will happen. And Slinger Groom, I'm working on it. I say probably this Wednesday, y'all will see the Daihun or whatever, however it's pronounced. Daihun. I don't know. But you'll see it.
I don't think it's like that.
Daihun.
No, you're just thinking over
Harley,
your-
you know more about like dyeing hair and everything. Does he have to put like peroxide, go like straight, like full on blonde first before he has to put color in it?
No, we're gonna make it easy on him. Yeah.
Oh,
Katie
why
Spence's
not?
comment right now saying that
Throttle
the
Nachos.
Throttle Nachos. That would be the name of the show if Gears of Nachos met up with us.
Yeah, it maybe one day. Who knows? We'll just have to grab him if we ever go to like the World Finals. Just snag him at the hotel or something.
Somewhere around there in the universe, there is a picture floating around me and Bryce next to each other, and we look a lot more alike than what I'm willing to admit, being honest.
Oh, Cody's saying that you should live stream getting the purple hair.
It's gonna take like 5 minutes to do. It won't be that interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not just gonna go to like Party City and get the like hair spray paint, are you? That's cheating. Come on, that's not
No, it's
dyeing your
not
hair.
It's
cheating.
not cheating.
I can't.
It's-
I honestly can't.
Everybody
go
in the
through-
comments, let us know, is that cheating?
No, it's not cheating because I can't go to work and keep my job with purple hair. Okay. I just have to have a few days off of work this week so I can actually at least do that. So that's why.
I'm not gonna torture his hair and bleach it, and yeah,
I think you should.
No.
I wouldn't.
I will
I
have
wouldn't do that to
A
him.
purple mohawk. You will see video footage of me in public with a purple mohawk. That's no. You'll get your satisfaction guaranteed. I promise.
Yeah, even Cody's done here. Like, you wear a hat, everyone's like, "Yep, that's cheating." Nope, can't happen.
Whatever.
I'm not going to spend a bunch of money to bleach his hair and dye it purple for him to shave it all off the next day.
I would have to.
That's money down the
I wouldn't have a
drain.
choice. I want to keep my job for now. Till we go full time on Throttle Out. I want to at least keep the one I have.
Oh, that's fair. Hey, John Zim, nice to see also weighing in on the purple hair.
This is ridiculous.
You
Y'all are
should have never brought
ridiculous.
this up. You should have just came on Wednesday with purple hair.
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know.
All
We'll
right,
see.
is there any other shows to talk about this week?
Yeah, no joke. There's plenty of other shows. As far as
We were talking about rain being the root of all evil. There was a big independent show in Evansville, Indiana, the big 4-H fair, and it was Team Scream, Team 2 Extreme Racing, and I believe Vodder's Trucks along with Predator, if I remember correctly. So it was a pretty stacked independent lineup, and unfortunately, one of the shows had to be canceled, or I think it was just one show. So Saturday had to be canceled due to the amount of rain. So a lot of rain up here, like in the Midwest, out in the East. So it's been terrible. But man, I mean, just it seemed like it was a pretty good show for what they had and what they were capable of doing.
From what I saw in the comments, did Mikey blow a motor before the show or during the show at some point? Because I couldn't find any footage on him, and I thought someone had commented he blew a motor.
It could have been.
That's a big show for him to miss everything. They would figure out a way to get that truck back on the track. So that actually sounds accurate to me. But even if he didn't, good grief, just look at this footage. That right there was Chris Koehler's first ever backflip attempt. I was there at that race, 2017, I think, where Chris made his first race pass in a truck. So a lot of firsts for Chris at that racetrack alone, but such a cool venue. I mean, this is one of those venues you would see on the beginning of a really good monster truck racing video game in a career mode. This would be like your first or second race. Just what a big show this is. Yeah, it's a smaller venue, but you see all the big name trucks that are there, put it on a great show. Obviously hitting backflips like you get a backflip. Everybody
gets a backflip.
Everybody's hitting the flip. You got a big dirt jump there, and it ended up being a great show.
So I got to say this about these backflip Rams, especially this one in particular at independent shows. I love that they use a stack of crush cars as like a wall of steel in order to do a backflip. I'd rather see that than a container, but I feel like you get very limited uses out of actually being able to do a backflip, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's a very crafty way to make a backflip attempt.
Oh, it looks like he blew a motor and Skills blew nuts and bolts in the motor.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That's never fun.
I know he's been having issues with that motor, trying to make that thing last as long as he can all year this year. So I'm actually surprised it lasted as long as it did.
Well, I mean, you win some, you lose some, but I get surprised when I talk to some independents about how long they've had like their engines and stuff, especially coming from working for Monster Jam, because let's face it, Tweety, we're essentially parts replacers. Something breaks, just replace it. Don't try and fix it. Which I kind of laugh. I actually made this comment today. I was kind of laughing because at East Rutherford they have the UNOH engine teardown experience where they tear apart an engine, build it in front of a giant crowd of people during pit party. We never rebuilt an engine at Monster Jam. It's like if the engine went kaboom, you put it you pull it out of the truck, put it in a crate, drain all the fluids, and ship it out, and someone else deals with it. And then when you get a new one, just put it back in the truck. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some guys that have been doing this for so long, they know how to adjust the valves, they do the timing and all this other stuff. But essentially, as a new guy, you're just a parts replacer.
Well, in the independent world, you don't necessarily get to be a parts replacer. And I know if you go to Mikey's YouTube channel, V2 Vids, and you watch a few of his videos here, just in recent weeks, they had an issue with the engine. They had to take the engine apart at J.R. McNeil's shop in Florida, and they did like a minor rebuild on that engine. So that, like I said, that just goes to show that engine's been in that truck for a while. And you look at that comment. I'm sorry, put that back up. If you didn't see a whole lot of Mikey this weekend just running around the track, this would be why. That guy is very passionate about driving his monster truck. And when it doesn't compete to where he thinks, his level should be, or the truck just doesn't fire, or whatever the issue is, he takes that personally. So for somebody who's such a fierce competitor like him, that would be why you didn't see a whole lot of him this week.
Well,
But
You
I
hate
will-
to
I will
see
say
it.
this before we move on from that show. I want to say this just a minute ago. That is an event that's put on by a guy who is local there in Evansville for the 4-H club. A lot of the money putting on that show alone comes out of this gentleman's pocket. And he takes all the money, the proceeds from that show, and I believe he donates it to the 4-H club. He keeps it running. And that, like I said, it's a cool show to be a part of because it's about more than just going to a monster truck show. And you finally get to know the people behind the scenes there in Evansville, Indiana. And the time that I was there, they always pull out the big guns for the show. When I was there, Army Armstrong was actually doing the announcing for the show. So it's always a show. If you're ever able to go to that venue and watch a monster truck show, I'm definitely going to suggest it. We were going to go there this year. We had some things pop up and we weren't able to actually, obviously, make that trip. But that is always a good show to go and see. So I'm really looking forward to getting back there at some point.
Damn it, I'm gonna have to go next year then because unfortunately just the timing all didn't work out. I was mad because I had 2 Michigan shows that were happening this weekend that were not too far away from me, and I wasn't able to go to either of them. But I've heard so much about this Evansville show from multiple people, a ton of people saying that this is one of the big independent events. But here's the thing, Tweety, and I wanted your honest opinion. Some people, and I want you guys in the comments to voice your opinion too. The biggest independent shows that I know of has always been the Springfield, Missouri show and the big Miami, Oklahoma. Now, I had my expectations held high when I went to the big Monster Truck Madness show that Elliot Miller was putting on because that has always been a big staple, big event up here in Michigan. Unfortunately, it wasn't as big as I was anticipating it to be. So, Evansville, would you argue that that is a top tier independent show that you must go to as a monster truck fan?
I would say absolutely to that.
I've never been, so I can't say.
I know it may not look like much from video footage, but when you're there, you know you're in for a heck of a show. I mean, there's no shortage of good trucks there. When I was there, you had the Hall brothers and Team Bigfoot there for that weekend. So, I mean, even then, the shows were great. And I will say this, I think the shows have continually gotten better. If you look at footage from, I don't know, 2014, 15, somewhere in there, it didn't seem like that great of a show. The track wasn't built that well, but they get better and better with it every year. The safety precautions get better and better with it. I feel like they widen the track. Maybe a lot of people didn't pay attention to that, but just from what I saw in video footage, it looked like they widened the track this year. They needed to definitely do that. But you saw Jim Koehler airing that truck out, everybody throwing in backflips. Yeah, I say that's definitely one of the top premier shows in the independent world. For a show that definitely doesn't have any type of points battle involved with it. It's just a good exhibition, monster truck show. Definitely.
So let me just pick your brains a little bit here. If you were to go to either independent series that has been going on, basically for the sake of 2021, which independent tour do you think would put on a top tier show that would compete against the Monster Jam World Finals? Like if same money wasn't an option, who do you think has the capability of actually making a show that would rival World Finals?
Well, I noticed there was one show, and I don't try to understand where I'm coming from when I say this, Austin. And I think it was the show that you went to with Monster Trucks with a Z. The layout of that track was freaking sweet. They had yeah, it was awesome. They made that track look really cool. Now, as far as everything else that goes on with those shows, not so much. But an actual World Finals caliber show, I don't know. I mean, because and I'll kind of let Harley make her pick. I know what she's going to pick. But, I mean, I'd have to go back and just say, if we could just do something there locally at Evansville, I mean, that would be the show to go to for me anyways, because if you wanted to add more trucks to that show, you easily could. Okay, like I said, that is a show that's being promoted with one guy. It's all coming out of his pocket, and he does really well with it. He doesn't even do it for profit. All those proceeds go to the 4-H club. So my point is, if you just took a little bit more, dumped it into that venue alone, you could have a hell of a World Finals caliber show there at Evansville. Harley, what about you?
I'm sorry, I was kind of distracted.
If you could pick an independent, if you could kind of just pick an independent promoter to put on a Monster Jam World Finals caliber show, what tour, what promoter would that be through?
I don't know. My mind's kind of drawing a blank right now. My life has been so like Monster Jam the past few years. I haven't been to a lot of independent shows, to be honest.
I think the answer would just be BJ win the lottery and call up some friends and find a field out in the middle of nowhere in Florida and have fun.
Or throttle out
I-
on your own show.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, we're doing it virtually, but
Yeah.
you know, that's
So I
free.
think somebody that could do this if he really wanted to would be Jimmy Cretin. I know with all the resources that he has, with what he's been able to pull from the smaller shows, if he really wanted to put together a big show, he could do that. I know somebody who would also be interested in doing a big show like this, obviously, would have to be Joey Sylvester and everything that he's invested into his crew, into his shows with the Outlaw Drags. I could see him doing something like that.
If they were to have, and this is just me, because Monster Jam Daily makes a very good point, because I went to those Mount Pleasant shows, and they were amazing, and the track was huge, and the obstacles were awesome. If we were to have, because I would argue it's either between Throwdown or MAP. Throwdown always puts on badass shows and pretty sick obstacles for what they have. If they had wider space, because Throwdown, before the whole world shut down, they were going to have their first stadium event at Geek Stadium in Illinois. I believe it's close to Chicago. And that would have been a game changer, seeing an independent tour finally having a stadium tier show. And I was really looking for that. I was going to actually leave, like try to take vacation time. I think a couple people from the shop were going to take vacation time from Fell to go up to that show and check it out. But I would argue that if the powers that be, Elliot Miller and whoever runs MAP, actually came together to have like this giant World Finals tier event for independents and give them incentive like they did back in like Penda to perform well, I think that'd be a pretty awesome event.
I think it could definitely happen. I wish it would. Now, I know there's a lot that goes into an event like that. Monster Trucks, since COVID, has had such a strong backing. All these smaller farm shows popping up. And Monster Trucks have been on the map since they've been able to come back. The shows have been bigger. They've been better. I think the biggest halt into doing something like that, into advertising a big show, because if you want to do something like that, you have to start advertising a year in advance. Well, what can happen in a year? Another stupid event like COVID can happen. Okay. The world is still not in, shape for independents to put on something like that. Obviously, Monster Jam isn't putting on their own damn World Finals right now. So, like I said, there's a lot that goes into putting on a show as to like what we're discussing.
I got to be honest, though. I'm going to be pretty disappointed because next year, now don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to seeing, the point series and everything come back with Monster Jam, a full roster, everybody back to doing what they're doing. It's going to suck seeing Orlando as a World Finals again, mainly because I'm going to feel terrible for all the crew guys and the drivers. Orlando in the middle of summer for a 2-3 weekend. Well, actually, the crew guys and everybody's there for an entire week, setting everything up for Monster Jam, and it's humid, it's hot. I know, we know like anywhere between 5 to 10 people that got heat exhaustion because of how bad it was there in Orlando. Yeah. So I like seeing the World Finals travel. I mean, I know a lot of people argue that it's like, no, World Finals needs to stay in Vegas. Well, if this is going to be taken seriously, I like to see it travel. Like there's tons of different stadiums across the country that's capable of hosting a World Finals tier event, but I don't think Orlando's one of them at all. So I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Well, where'd Tweety go?
I'm talking to Kinley right now.
I was going to say, like, we lost one.
Did it look like he just totally disappeared with his black shirt?
Yeah, the black shirt, just like he's gone. Like that's it. He just left.
Transition.
He's like, I don't want to talk about Monster Jam.
The filter we're putting on here.
Oh my gosh, that and I want to see like all of Bigfoot come back too. So,
well, yeah, we would all appreciate that.
So anyway,
we'll talk more about the Bigfoot crew in coming weeks, but one thing I will say is Harley. Austin, 250 on YouTube.
251.
We hit it.
Exact. We are activated now. We are doing the giveaway. So thank you so much, everybody who follows us, who watches us. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. The giveaway is officially activated, so we're working on getting the rules set up and our giveaway post, and that's going to be happening now. So thank you all.
We definitely need to figure out a way to incorporate everybody here that is a part of Facebook, YouTube, everywhere, because when we did it on Instagram, it's like some people don't use Instagram that's on Facebook or are on YouTube. So we need to figure out a way to actually have this fair for everybody. So not to mention, I think we're going to have a lot more. We're going to need a bigger hat basically to draw names out of.
We will this time. Yeah, we definitely will this time. And just so everybody's wondering, it is a nice little care package from the boys there in St. Louis, Missouri, as well as a nice little $100 Visa gift card. So everybody could use an extra $100 to spend on whatever right now. Go on a little spending spree on Amazon if you really want. And
don't you dare spend it on the Monster Jam Superstore. I'm watching you.
Spend it on Throttle Out, okay? Put it right back into the company and invest into us.
Yeah, spend it on our merch store that we still don't have up just yet. So we're working on it. I promise. We're just waiting on equipment to come in.
Yes, the investment funds are transitioning into actual equipment for the show. So,
yeah, I got to be honest. I was actually really inspired by Harley's dad. What he's doing, BJ. He actually opens up his little mini tattoo shop in his yard with this little shed, and I'm like, I kind of want to do that with the t-shirt stuff. So I'm not, stuck in a closet essentially trying to make a bunch of t-shirts and stuff. So I might actually have to go to Home Depot and get myself a shed or something.
Build your own little shop in the back.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be very convenient. I know my brother Logan, he has his own recording studio.
Yeah, that's right. He does it.
In one of those sheds. So there's a lot you can do with a little tiny home such as that. Now, what else do we have going on this weekend, y'all?
This weekend, or had happened this weekend. There's I'm drawing a blank.
We talked about Throwdown.
All of it?
Well, we didn't talk about the Ionia show.
No.
There was 2 shows that happened this weekend in Michigan. Unfortunately, my insider, I have no idea what's going on with him. He didn't send me any messages or any pictures or nothing. So I have no idea what happened in Ionia this weekend. I saw that there was 2 drivers actually for Sinistar, which was very, very strange. You had that, I think her name was Emily Steele or whatever, Elliott Miller, that drove, I believe, the second show, and then some other guy drove on the first show. So really kind of different about that. So other than that, and then I know in Davidsburg, Michigan, there was, I want to say it was All-Star, and I believe Toodles was there, old David. Which, again, I hate that I missed it because I was supposed to give him his throttle popper flags, and unfortunately I wasn't able to get over there.
That's all right.
However, I do have some news actually. So Harley knows about this.
Oh, okay.
I have in this box here a little something for Mr. Tweedy to go on your guys' desk, and it's all the way from the great up north, up there in Canada. And I've been waiting on this for like a couple of months. So
yeah,
Harley knows what it is. Harley thinks it's absolutely badass, but I have a little care package that's going to be coming down there to you guys in Texas. This was a final piece, so you're actually going to finally opening all of this up in front of everybody here. Oh, no, Denver's back.
Yeah. Denver's coming. Do it.
Welcome back from Facebook, jail, you old fart. Glad to have you back. Oh my gosh. Yeah, tranny packing, shirt stamping, shed. Yep. I'm gonna make a sign that says that tranny packing.
Yeah, and all signs right now point to you that he's talking about you.
So next time I work with the Ecton camps, I'm gonna have shirts that only say like what was it, tranny packer knob finder or something like that.
Yeah.
So yep. All right. Gosh, there wasn't really, unfortunately, the tragedy was kind of the big news over the weekend. And obviously we wanted to do that right, you guys. There was a lot of back and forth between us where we really didn't know if we wanted to cover it or not because we wanted to do this right. You know, Scott was such a huge impact and a huge inspiration to so many people in this industry. And there was a lot of, should we talk about this? Should we bring it up? Because, you know, was it our place or not? So I'm glad we got to. I'm glad we got to actually talk about it and talk to everybody and hear from everybody in the comments about, you know, not just the name Gunslinger or Slinger. We know the whole back and forth in 2017 with that, but just Scott Hartsock in general was such a genuine, awesome dude, and he surely will be missed.
Absolutely. And we'll just go ahead and we'll kind of wrap it up on that note. So we want to thank you all for tuning in like you do each and every week, for supporting our show. But like we have just been talking about, to the family of Scott and Kathy Hartsock, we are absolutely praying for y'all. Y'all are in our thoughts daily. So we will attempt to do what we can to move on. Until then, we'll all stay cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Good night, everybody.